Good morning. It is the Monday morning cup of coffee. I'm your host, post sinus surgery, Tommy Womack. Let's have a sip of coffee together, shall we? Can you say ah? This is the first appearance ever of my wife Beth in a Monday cup of coffee. That's her shoulder, and that's her face. I'm surprised she even did that. She's a bit camera shy. Amazingly so for a woman who used to be an anchor lady on television. She hates her picture being on video now. I don't know why. She's a pretty lady. Yes, I had sinus surgery Friday, so this is not me being funny or anything. This is some cloth under there to catch the blood. Um, and we change it every time I do this sort of squishy bottle saline, squirting stuff up your nose, and then it comes out all bloody and gross and kind of cool. Um, so that's what's happening, and I don't know how long you ask anybody how long the recovery process is from sinus surgery. You get a different answer. 4 days, 4 weeks, depends on who you ask and what their experience was. In other words, I have no freaking clue how long I'm going to have to be wearing something like this, or how long before I have this wonderful moment that people describe where suddenly your sinuses are as big as Mammoth Cave and you can just take in all this air. I'm hoping that when that happens, I won't have as many problems being out of breath as I have for like 10 years or so now. I saw a pulmonologist a couple of years ago and he told me my lungs were fine. And I'm like, how could they possibly be fine? I worked hard to get bad lungs. I smoked a lot of cigarettes and a lot of joints to get where my lungs are today. Don't tell me there's nothing wrong with my lungs. The doctor who told me, the pulmonologist, I got socks older than him. So there you go. Uh, wanna let's start a new thing for the Monday Cup of Coffee. This is the first installment of Churchill Watch. 982 pages of this book. And let me see if I can get it. See where the bookmark is? That's page 354. We are up to 1931 right now. He has just left his position of Chancellor of the Exchequer, as they call sort of like the Treasury guy over there in England. 1931, it's his wilderness years, they call it. And it will end in 1939, I think it is, when England declares war against Germany because Germany invaded Poland and England and Poland had a treaty. I'm waiting. I'm reading everything, and I sometimes have to read a page twice because it's very dense reading. I don't know if the author is a professor or not. Uh, let's see. Uh, doesn't say that he's a professor, but the writing is a bit professorial. Very dense reading, but I'm retaining it because I go back. If I read a paragraph and my mind had drifted off into space for a little bit, I have to go back and read the paragraph again. And even if I hadn't drifted away, I still sometimes have to read the paragraph. So that's what I'll be reading, a lot of Churchill, and also this right here. Uh, This is a good one. Now, this is reward reading. After doing the difficult reading of Churchill, I come to this: Five Families, the stories of the five mafia families in New York City, written by Selwyn Robb, who is actually a New York Times reporter. So, a lot of these gangster books can be pretty poorly written sometimes, but he's a New York Times reporter, so it's very erudite, and I'm enjoying it. I do some Churchill, then I do some Five Families, then I do some snoring. That's kind of that's going to be my raison d'etre for a while, so long as I'm wearing this thing and can't go out and see people. And I don't know if I used raison d'etre right in my reference there. I was just trying to appear cultured. It might be raison de brand. Ba-dum bum. Thank you, New York. Uh, got my new hoodie here. Got my Cream magazine hoodie. It came in the mail the other day. And it's very soft. It's very comfy. And I look forward to wearing it around town and having everyone admire me because I'm so hip that I have a Cream magazine hoodie. They've restarted the magazine, by the way. There's a couple of issues out that have happened now. I found all my old Cream magazines in the shed when we opened the shed, but then the rainwater got in them, and I don't because they were sitting on the deck instead of in the shed. And now we've got the new shed, but I don't know if the Cream magazines are salvageable right now. I hope they are. They were underneath a whole bunch of Rolling Stone magazines, which I know are pretty much foobar. But we'll see about the Creams. I haven't gone out there to look at them yet. It's not really my first priority right now, what with all this filth and assault that's been done on my sinuses here. Now, before I leave here, gotta say a few words in tribute to my good friend, uh, dearly departed genius Ort. William Orton Carlton is his whole name. Ort was what everybody called him. He was a institution in Athens, Georgia. He was at REM's first gig there. Fred Schneider of the B-52s was his freshman year college dorm roommate. Uh, Everybody knew Ort down in Athens. Everybody knows him. Uh, and you either loved him to death or he tried your patience. I saw people in Athens both that way with him. Uh, and, even if you loved him to death, he could try your patience. The guy couldn't help it. He was so smart. He was so articulate, and he couldn't turn it off. Long hair, long beard, pants that came up around to his belly, way up. Uh, Always carrying a notebook with him, which he wrote down his whole life as he lived it. And according to our mutual friend Kurt Wood, there are stacks and stacks of these notebooks in his house, and I reckon they should donate them to the University of Georgia in Athens and see if somebody can go through them all and boil it down to a book or something. That would be a good thing. He was an incredible guy. We all loved him very much up here. He stayed on my couch, mine and Beth's couch. That's her shoulder. Many times. He was Government Cheese's unofficial MC. If you'll notice, one of the Cheese's songs, our instrumental, is called Bathtub, He Asked. And that's because Ort stormed the stage one night, went up to Scott's microphone and said, Bathtub, he asked. And then he got off the stage. And so we named the instrumental after him. So that's a little bit of Ort that will live on for all of us. He passed away a couple of days ago. Friday, he passed away. Or was it Saturday? It was Saturday he passed away after a battle with pancreatic cancer. And he passed away surrounded by loved ones and friends. He was in hospice for a day, and when he passed, and we'll miss him terribly. He was 73 years old, and he had a life well lived, a very unusual life, but not a decadent one, not a selfish one. He was a great guy. We'll miss you, Ort. We'll miss you forever. And let's have a sip of coffee for Ort. Get ready to say, ah. This is for you, Ort. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. See you next week.
You got your problem, I got mine too. Let's focus on mine and it'll be good for you. It's all about me, babe. It's all about me. Oh, can't you see, babe? It's all about